Mr. Abani, the celebrations today are going to be almost low-keyed because of the security challenge that we're experiencing. So there won't be so much fanfare and the rest of it. And Mr. Onyeka has actually, talked about the fact that, rising spate of kidnapping and, of course, terrorist attacks and the rest of it. So how can trade unions now, for instance, redefine their role as critical stakeholders, in the nation building and address the corrupt tendencies that cripple national productivity, service, progress, and prosperity?
They have a very key role to play. You call them major critical stakeholders in the polity. They are very critical. Now, you cannot have peace in atmosphere, where there is, insecurity. I think the president of Pakistan wanted to come to Nigeria, and because of the set of insecurity, the man cancelled this. So also in foreign investors, who want to come to Nigeria, it's not about coming to Northeast or Northwest. They are looking at Nigeria as a whole, as a place that is not safe. So issue of having peace, economic, peace, political peace, to ensure inflow of foreign investment. You need it also for any economy. You cannot, even America as big as it is, it's still being sustained by the inflow.
You should not forget that this, challenge that we're experiencing right now is not peculiar to Nigeria. I say it all the time. We read about it all the time. It's not a situation that's peculiar to Nigeria. So as much as possible, we should try to, highlight the positive aspects, even though we have the negative aspects.
There are positive aspects. When the negatives are also there, it's important we highlight it in order to create a conducive atmosphere for us to operate. What we're saying is that peace is a panacea, as really for sustainable growth. And we must try as much as possible to work hand in hand with the government in order to ensure that that is done. Now, we have Labour. Labour have a political party called Labour Party. Now, they can even start from there, because we cannot even get peace or all these things right or good leadership when we don't even get our electoral system right, in order to allow the emergence of good leaders who will now ensure good governance. Because when governance is reaching every nook and cranny, it reduces tension, it reduces criminality. There are a few people who may still, be out of way in order to commit crime, but the system must be activated to take them away. But it's not that when you have a country, large percentage are into crime. Oh, in the south is kidnapping, in the north it is bombing, in the east it is, robbery, or in the west robbery, all over the place. There is no safety. There's no safety, and safety and an issue of peace is very key for people to operate. He says he has a particular, factory, but people are running away from that factory because when they go home, they are being kidnapped. So why would you now go and establish a factory in a place where you're in the den of kidnappers? So what we're saying is that there must be a nexus in all these things. Electoral system that produces good leaders that will now get good governance, and governance reaches every nook and crannies, and people are they are well fed, they are taken care of, they're in employment, they wake up in the morning, say, God bless Nigeria, and they want to work. When you go to work in the morning by 8 o'clock and come back in the night, and very late and all that, and you go to bed and sleep in order to wake up tomorrow morning, will you have time to go and plan how to kidnap or how to go and rob? Because you're tired already. You want to wake up tomorrow, you have to go to bed and rest. But when there is no job, from morning, no job at all, you wake up, being active, and you want to go to work and there's no job, what you do, all gangs of criminals come together, and before you know it, the man now becomes an armed robber in the night, because there's nothing for him in the daytime. So he goes to work in the night. So what we're saying is that there be that conducive atmosphere for people to really work, create employment, but that comes with good leadership. When we get it right at leadership level, all these things will permeate to all nooks and crannies, and you see Nigeria booming, everyone happy, and then the few criminals will be taken away by the active system, like judiciary and all that, making sure that they get reform and get back in society. That's how societies work, and that is how that's how Britain is working. Let us emulate them and let it work. It can work here.
Okay, so now next week, the World Economic Forum Africa meeting begins. What are your expectations?
On Africa,
so what do you think this could mean for Nigeria?
Yeah, well, issue of employment, I think, is also key. They are looking at it.
Yes.
How do countries have to create employment? Now, when we're saying that, our electoral system, as I said earlier, as Nigeria, we must get it right and enthrone good leaders. I see we are short of money. We have so much money. God has given us natural resources and human resources. So why are we not making progress? So we have all this. But to harness them properly by good leadership that has vision, visionary leadership is what is lacking. So for us to have a country where all of us should be happy, this issue of good leadership, enthronement of good leadership is very, very key to me. And that is why I want them to focus to really advise African countries to ensure emergence of good leaders who will now harness the resources, both natural and unnatural, and make the countries, to be a better place for people to live in and be happy, and then less criminality and less killings and violence.
Mr. Onyeka, there are definitely going to be sessions that will focus on inequality, and we have a high rate of that, among us here in Nigeria. But what do you think Nigeria can also learn from sessions like that?
Good. It's a good opportunity that Nigeria should benefit from, because that means congregation of ideas, people of different mind and different background will come together and look at issues. So Nigeria should be able to take some benefit from that, because people who have gone through this process before and they have experience, they are going to bring the experience and what they passed through and what they learned out of it to us. And we, on our own side, will be able to position ourselves and be able to put what we have learned into our system so I can benefit Nigeria and the citizens of the country. Because I think it's part of education. When people are educated, when they are trained, you find out they see what they do. It's passage of knowledge. So people will get knowledge that will help us to drive this economy. And you find out that everybody will be happy at the end of the forum if we really implement what we learn from that meeting.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program today. It's been an interesting one. We looked at different and various issues. But of course, I know they're going to still come up in the not-too-distant future. But thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, Harry. It's a pleasure.
Well, I've been speaking with the chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association Ikeja branch, Barrister Onyekachi Ubani, and the vice chairman, Association of Nigeria Licensed Customs Agents, Mr. Dom Onyeka. And we've been looking at labor union and economic development since today, of course, is International Workers' Day. It's an apt theme for us for this year. And of course, don't forget that the theme for this year is building enduring peace and unity, panacea for sustainable national development. It doesn't just behove on the government alone or the private sector. Everybody should try as much as possible to inculcate this in everything they do, in their daily life, in their work life as well. And definitely the country will be the better for it. But that's the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow is another day. We'll see you bright and early. But I'm Harriet Agbin. Bye.